Oh boy, Veronica, how you feeling?
I'm feeling fine, I guess. How are you, John?
I'm feeling great. I just got back from the movie theater. It's just so nice to see a nice positive movie like Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. A nice like a vision of a utopian world. It was just really fun.
Was it a utopian world? It,
Oh, yeah. I mean, did you not get that?
no, I mean, it seemed like even though it's been hundreds of years, the apes have sort of started recreating the same toxic patterns as humans have, and they're still encountering the
Oh,
same.
yeah. No, I'm not talking about all that monkey shit. No, I'm talking about the fact that this takes place in a world where humanity was faced with a horrible virus, and instead of becoming a bunch of crazy conspiracy theory nutbags, everyone just lost the ability to talk. Ugh,
Oh,
the fucking dream.
yes. All right. Sorry, I
Sometimes
did not
opening
know
these
how
shows
to
are
end
hard.
that. Yep.
You will end it the usual way. A toot toot. Welcome to the show.
Toot 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 toot. Yeah.
Welcome to the show.
Hello. Hi. How are you, viewer
I'm good. How are
and
you
or
doing?
listener and John?
Oh, I thought you were talking to me.
Yeah. I mean, most of the time I am, so that makes sense.
It's a little needy of me in a show where 99.9% of the time you are talking to me
Mm-hmm.
to get upset when you briefly talk to the listener.
Exactly. Hi, listener, and hi, John. Hi, John. Still
Thank
paying
you.
attention
Thank
to
you.
you, John.
Thank you. And hello to the viewers on YouTube. Welcome to Box Office Time Machine. I'm John.
Hi, I'm Veronica. I'm about to take a sip from tea.
And this is the show where we take a look at the number one movie at the box office, either from the current weekend or a weekend far in the past. But we are sticking with the present today because we're
Are
talking
we?
about 2024's. Well, the far future, I guess.
The far, far future, John. Come on. Respect the chronology.
Many generations in the future. That's right. We are talking about Wes Ball's Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
Oof.
Of the man, of the monkey, of the world, Revengeance. That is, of course, the fourth movie in the Planet of the Apes reboot series, started in 2011 with Rupert Wyatt's Rise of the Planet of the Apes, Revengeance. None of these movies actually have Revengeance in the title. I'm just having fun.
Do any movies have Revengeance in the title?
I think it might just be a video game.
Okay.
Metal Gear Solid, Revengeance, which I just think is fun. Because it's like you have revenge and you have vengeance, and they are the same thing. But what if you said them at the same time? Fun.
Yeah, I can appreciate this very basic wordplay, not foreplay.
Foreplay. Yep. There's nothing that gets people hotter than talking about spin-offs to the video game series Metal Gear Solid.
Oh boy, I guess I know that name. All right, well, immediately tangented out of the topic.
Right. You said because your throat is hurting, you wanted to keep this episode short.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, good. Let's have a as long as possible digression about the video games of Hideo Kojima at the beginning of this unrelated movie podcast.
Yeah, sounds like a recipe for repeat viewership and listenership.
All right, well then let's get to it. Veronica, normally I ask you in one of these when we're doing a franchise or an old movie, I will ask you what your history is with the franchise.
Mhm.
But I'm pretty sure you told me this last episode. This is your first ever Planet of the Apes movie?
Well, unless you count Stop the Planet, I Want to Get Off. The Planet of the Apes musical, starring Troy McClure as the human.
Did you get to see that live? Did you see that on Broadway?
I saw it in the off-Broadway production, actually. I was there.
Oh.
I was there for the early versions. I do have a T-shirt of that play. I know all the songs. I do, genuinely.
Look, we can all agree that as much as I, at least, am a fan of this franchise, the greatest thing that the Planet of the Apes series will ever give to humanity is inspiring the lyric, "I hate every ape I see from chimpanzee to chimpanzee," from that Simpsons episode.
Make a monkey out of me. Oh, are you sure it's not, oh my God, I was wrong. It was Earth all along. It's now so good. I don't need to see the movie. I know exactly the plot.
But am I right? You'd never seen none of the original series, not Tim Burton, Marky
Wahlberg. I have not. The closest I got to that one was the elaborate Kevin Smith dissing of that movie, which is how I know something about that. I know that it ends with like the Twin Towers or something like that, or Statue of Liberty.
No, it does not end with the Twin Towers.
Okay, I don't know. Then I know nothing.
I think that one might actually be that movie's from 2001. Although I think it probably came out in the summer, so pre 9/11.
Yeah, I remember.
No, it ends with a monkey Lincoln Memorial.
Oh, that's what it is.
Lincoln,
yeah,
it's a monkey.
And then Kevin Smith said that they did that in some like Jay and Silent Bob comic or something like that.
Oh yeah, I vaguely remember that.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's all I know. I am not a fan of apes taking over the world.
As a real thing.
As a real thing.
Well,
yeah.
I have said I think I saw the 2011 the reboot, the 2011 movie in the theaters, and I enjoyed it. But I never saw the Matt Reeves sequels, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes and War for the Planet of the Apes, in the theaters until sometime long enough later that we were doing this podcast. It might have been during the pandemic, because I'm pretty sure I watched them both in a week and loved them, and I'm pretty sure I talked about thoroughly enjoying them on this podcast. But I did not persuade you to check them out yourself. So This was your first journey to the Planet of the Apes. And I just want to let's get it out of the way. We haven't talked about it yet. I just got back from the theater. Veronica, what did you think?
Meh.
Oh, that's so boring.
I mean, that is genuinely verbatim what I told my boyfriend yesterday. I was like, that was boring.
Oh, why? What couldn't you get into it about?
I think in general, this is ape agnostic. I'm not a fan of CGI movies. I'm not, even when they're beautifully rendered, and I'll definitely give this movie that this is very realistic monkeys talking to other very realistic monkeys, and also very realistic humans that look almost as CG as the very realistic monkeys. But it was just like, the plot was so predictable. Like, everything that happened, I anticipated, with the exception of like one thing that happened. Everything else was so...
You didn't think there'd be monkeys.
Yes, that was the biggest.
You were really
twist.
thrown off when monkeys showed up.
No, but yeah, it was just like every beat was by the book, screenwriting 101, telegraph the thing, then do the thing. In my opinion, so it was just, yeah, I was bored. I was not angry. This is not a badly made movie. I was not like offended by this at all, but I was very disinterested. I was not engaged in what was happening.
Did you just see it with Corey? Did anyone else go?
No, I saw it by myself. He would not go. He hated the trailer so much. He and I both were very much wishing for this movie to come out so we can stop seeing the trailer in movie theaters.
Okay. I don't know where to start. So, I think the last trilogy is great. I think the second movie, in particular, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, is excellent. This movie, I think, is good. I loved the first half. Full stop. I loved the first half. I liked the second half. But I guess we can get into, before we get into the specifics of this, I want to dig into what you said. So you say you can't get into CGI movies. Can you enjoy animated films? Because at the end of the day.
Yeah, I was asking myself the same question as I was being bored by this movie. I was like, how is this different than Toy Story, technically? And I don't know.
Can you get into the Toy Story movies? Can you get into
I
Pixar
love Toy
movies?
Story. Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. But to me, I don't know why, but this felt more like Lion King, live action Lion King, than I was thinking to myself, like, why did we hate on Lion King this much? Where this to me is a very similar level of like dramatic CGI animal acting as that one was.
That's fucking insane. That is
like, yes, I know. I'm
gonna put my foot down right now. Out of everything you've said in the 6 years we've been doing this podcast, I have never disagreed with a statement more than you saying the monkeys in this movie had the equal level of facial expression as the brick walls that started in 2019
I think had Lion King been about monkeys, it would have been as effective, though. Lion King kind of chose difficult animals. I feel like maybe like it's harder to make a lion have the facial expressions that resemble humans, which is essentially what we are kind of usually drawn to. Mm-hmm. Yes, a monkey obviously closer to us than any other animal, so like we do see ourselves in many of our human traits in monkeys and apes, so totally understandable. But in terms of me caring about these animals, it was a one-to-one thing. I appreciate that this was very well done, but it was still not something that I could bring myself to emotionally care about. If that makes sense.
You think these guys... Well, I think that the direct connection would be Rafiki from the 2019 Lion King.
Yeah, was Rafiki bad? Like, was the big ape man in the beginning any worse or any better than the one from Jungle Book? Like when Christopher Walken plays like frightening, terrifying King Louie.
I didn't see the Jon Favreau Jungle Book.
Yeah, like it was fine, but it's just like I don't know. It's a me problem. I'm not saying this makes the movie bad, but it's just I can't really emotionally, like a movie has to be fantastic in many other ways for me to actually care about CGI. I don't know. I can't even think of like a movie where I've ever cared about like CGI, like non-cartoon CGI rendered creatures.
I want to find your line. I want to find where your line is. So, 2D animated characters. You can get on board with them.
Yeah, and I can't even get on board with 2D or 3D Pixar, whatever animation rendered characters.
So stylized 3D animation, you're on board.
Yes.
You can engage with those characters.
Yes, I am off board on like Inside Out. Or rather,
Okay.
like when the
Well,
kid.
the better Pixar movies. Inside Out is fine. I have no interest in fucking Inside Out 2. That looks abysmal. But Inside Out 1 is fine.
Like, I like in Inside Out, I like the creatures, like, but yeah, the kid, I don't care about. Which is fine, because Inside Out is not about the kid, really. So it's fine.
Well, okay, what about The Incredibles? The human characters
Yes,
in The
I love The
Incredibles.
Incredibles. But that is, again, so stylized. And so fun. The script is so fun. This is not The Incredibles. You can possibly compare the level of drama and engagement that The Incredibles elicits versus the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
Okay. How about humans with their faces covered in fantastic practical makeup? I'm trying to think of an example. For some reason, my mind is just going to the Ron Perlman, Linda Hamilton TV show, Beauty and the Beast, which I have
it's like
never
something
seen.
like Worf from like Star Trek or something like that, like the Folds guy.
Even more covered than Worf. Well, okay, let's go. Chewbacca.
Alan Rickman. Oh, I don't like Star Wars. This is a different thing.
Okay. What's an actor? Let's say not the okay. I don't see John Hurt in the Elephant Man.
That is fine, but that was kind of realistic, right?
I know.
Yeah.
What's something where like someone is just fully like their face is covered in makeup that makes them just completely look non-human?
I mean, I love Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and they had, Monsters of the Week all the time. But again, that wasn't the gist of the show, right? They were sort of like side characters.
If you can see like their actual faces moving, that's even if it's covered with makeup, you're down with that.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I think that is fine.
So the moment,
like I can do like Hellboy, like Ron Perlman as Hellboy.
Okay, how about Abe Sapien in that series?
I don't remember who that is.
Doug Jones.
Yeah.
Isn't
I guess, but I don't
Fish Man?
I didn't really emotionally care about that character. I think the problem here is that all we get is apes. Like all we get are these CG apes. And I don't care. Like I don't know what it is. I immediately lose interest. And the fact that I don't know. Yeah, it seems like the fact that they're apes kind of allows us to, and I don't know, maybe this is meaner than I intended to sound, but I feel like it gives license to, at least in this movie, because I've not seen any others, to do very basic storytelling, but be like, oh, these are apes. So this is interesting because these are apes doing these fairly basic and predictable human story arcs. And I was not interested.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, it's I mean if you can't get beyond the initial thing of just engaging with the characters, it's just never gonna work.
Right. Well, like also what are the characters? Like I feel like here, do we have characters? We kind of have stand-ins for character types, right? But I would argue the most interesting person there is William H. Macy. And maybe this is, again, my humanist bias, but I feel like he is at least has some sort of, I don't know, levels of corruption and sort of shades of gray to him. Everyone else is so pure,
What about Raka, the orangutan?
He was cute. He was like a Yoda, I guess, or something. That was another thing that was very telegraphed. He was like, yeah, he was the sage. He like guides our character a little bit, and then he dies, and then that leads to our character growing a little bit. I don't know. It's just like they're all just stand-ins for, character types. We have our hero who's very boring. Like, he has like nothing super interesting about him. He's sort of like conflicted about, growing up and taking over. He's essentially Simba. I mean, like, to keep going with the Lion King analogy. And then, yeah, he has his like hero's journey where he realizes that, oh, he can also be a leader and he is good enough. And it's just like, okay, fine. No, he's a monkey instead of being a lion, but essentially it's the same story. I don't know. What did you, Jon, so you are a fan of these, and I would be curious, like, sell me on this. What did I miss? What was like the stuff that you said were very good and even like pretty good?
Okay. So to me, this series, and I have not actually seen any of the originals. Sorry, purists. I've not even seen the original, the 68 film. I've seen the Tim Burton one. Great. Glad I caught that one.
Isn't that the same movie, though, as the first one? Or no? Did they change? I mean, aside from the Lincoln statue.
Look, the Rick Baker special effects in that one actually are really cool. And I'd be curious to know, actually, if you felt more of a appreciation of those, because those are incredibly well done. How about, did you ever see the Jim Henson Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle live action movies?
No, I've only seen the one we watched.
Oh, yeah. Did you relate to those characters at all?
I don't know. I felt like they had more of a personality than...
Okay.
Like, they were fun. Yeah.
Okay, I think I do see the issues here because anyway, so because I think there is a elements of this movie that I don't think are as good as the other ones that I think are holding you back from enjoying it because I think they aren't as engaging. But so this series, to me, it is very similar to the Avatar movies.
Oh, boy.
In that this is genuinely spectacle at its, like, Hollywood spectacle at the best it could possibly be right now. These are, visual effects are as good as it could be. Some of the people who worked on the last Avatar worked on this. I think the facial animation of the apes is genuinely incredible. Ever since the 2011 one, which, like, you look at the footage of the apes in that one now, it looks a little dated at this point. But I remember that the teaser for the 2011 one was before they released the teaser, they just released on Twitter a 3-second clip of Andy Serkis's Caesar character sitting in a cell and his eye just like glancing over just to flex with how good their visual effects were. And I remember it being genuinely impressive. But the same way with this one. This is the 2024 version where I found these characters genuinely impressive to look at. So you got the spectacle. But I think similar to Avatar, a big difference between this series and some of the other blockbusters we've gotten, some of the, written on set, written in edited, just completely haphazardly thrown together behemoths of, a lesser MCU movie or something. I feel like this series is just capable, like Avatar, capable of just executing a simple story. Mm-hmm. With a simple, clear beginning. You could say it's predictable, but like a simple, clear beginning, middle, end. The emotional beats are executed well, are hit. And then I think the difference between this and Avatar is that I think at the end of the day, the story in the Avatar movies, it stops at being simple. It's effective, but there's nothing else under the surface. It's just, there is no depth to that story. It's just the most simplistic story you could get. Whereas the Planet of the Apes movies have attempted to do something more. Mm-hmm. The reason I say I loved the first half of this movie and only liked the second is I thought the first half introduced a bunch of really interesting ideas, which is why, similar to, say, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, where it is this beautiful spectacle, this big blockbuster, but there are genuinely interesting, thoughtful ideas. I thought that this movie it went in a less interesting direction than I thought it was setting up. Basically, to me, I thought the idea of jumping forward 300 years and making this a story where the hero we followed in the last trilogy is now a messianic figure of myth. And basically, when we were introduced to the Raka character, the orangutan, and he is a follower of Caesar, but from a different religious sect than the villains of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the idea of making this story about, like you said in our intro when we were ad-libbing, the idea that the apes are rebuilding human society accidentally with the better or both the better and worse parts. Like the fact that they've now built religion and have built disagreements over religious faith. The idea that they have different interpretations of the story that we saw in the previous movies. I thought that was really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And I was disappointed when we met the villain. And it feels like some of the religious stuff was dipped. In his first speech, the villain Proximo has a bunch of you could see the religious stuff was still there. He has some stuff that sounds very specifically like a mega church pastor.
Mm-hmm.
Like he says something like, what a wonderful day. Say it's a wonderful day. Doesn't it feel good to praise Caesar or whatever? Very much like a, what are some of those fuckers' names? Joel Osteen type. Yeah. Doesn't it feel good to praise Jesus? But it became very clear very quickly that he's not a true believer and that this is purely about his own personal greed and his own
I don't
kind
know
of
that
feeling.
that's necessarily true. I don't think it's a personal greed. I think he has a thirst for power, and in his mind, it is in order to advance the apes past where the humans were, or to get them to that point. I don't know that he necessarily, or at least to me, it didn't feel like it was necessarily his own. Obviously, any sort of messianic figure such as that, probably has that as an undercurrent, but I feel like his was more of an act for his kind, he was thinking that that's what he was doing, I feel like.
I realized we didn't do any bit of plot rundown.
Yeah, sure. The plot is
so
very basic.
Just very, very quickly. This takes place 300 years after the last one, when Caesar died after bringing his tribes to the paradise so they could start their own civilization. 300 years later, the apes have spread out into a number of different tribes. Nearly every human has lost the ability to speak. Humans are just feral creatures. And one of these tribes, the Eagle Clan, our new main character, Noah, is the son of one of the elders. They're a clan that raise eagles and falcons. Another tribe comes led by Proximo Caesar, who worships Caesar, but in a violent way. They round up everyone in the clan, take them to be slaves. Our hero meets an orangutan named Raka, who worships a more peaceful version of Caesar's story. He also meets May, a human being who can speak. They end up going. He and May get captured by Proximo. Turns out they are at a vault being kept by a vault that was started when the virus first started hundreds of years ago, that had basically saved human technology. And May is trying to get in as he's Proximo. They fight for it. They end up flooding it, but she gets a special hard drive and brings it to, surprise, another vault of human beings who have maintained some level of society. Okay.
Sure.
I think to me, the issue here is that I could feel the movie this could have been fighting against the movie that sets up a new trilogy.
Yeah.
Because, and I get that at its core, they want the most marketable version is the movie that's about humans versus apes. And they're building towards, we end with the question, can humans and apes survive together? It's been the question throughout the series. But I was much more interested in a kind of human-free story. I know that probably isn't interesting to you, but something that's specifically about a religious schism between two groups that are interpreting the teachings of a character. Like, to me, it felt like if someone who knew the actual Jesus Christ got to jump forward in time 2,000 years and like look at like a battle between two different Christian sects, like while knowing the actual guy and being like, what is this shit about walking on water? What are you talking? Like to me, that was really interesting. And that was a fun thing that you could only do in a story like this after like a full trilogy. And so when it stopped being about, like when we lost Raka, who dies after being the most interesting character, he dies. And then we never have anyone. There are no more scenes of characters debating the teachings of Caesar.
Yeah.
And I thought that was, to me, the most interesting. And so the rest of it was, again, good spectacle, good action. But I thought the first half was much more interesting. And part of that, and I'll agree with you, is that Noah is not particularly interesting as a main character.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a little generic.
He's very generic. I feel like everything he goes through is so by the numbers generic. And we don't... Yeah, I agree with you. Raka the orangutan was the most interesting one. Until he arrived, I was bored out of my mind. And I definitely liked the parts that he was on, even though I kind of already knew that he would die. So it was like, okay. But yeah, he was pretty good. It felt like no one else really had, any sort of distinguishing, interesting attributes. They just all felt like kind of pawns in, the plot.
The son of the fallen hero who has to prove himself. It's a character we've seen before.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, this was very on purpose. I've read interviews with Wes Ball so in the last trilogy is grim as fuck. It is so dark. And part of that is that the Caesar character is a much darker character. He's a much more conflicted character. He wants peace, but he basically starts where the Noah character ends in this movie, of wanting to trust humans, but knowing he probably shouldn't, and that creating the conflict. But yeah, they wanted things to start a little brighter in this one. I do think it's funny. So you didn't see one of the best scenes, spoiler, in the 2011 one is when Caesar speaks for the first time, which happens about, probably 2 hours into a 2.5 hour movie. And if you are because it was very much like the more realistic Planet of the Apes movie, if you don't think they're going there, it was a genuinely surprising and great scene. And his first line is just yelling out, "No!" So we get an inversion of that in this movie where they think all humans can't talk, and May finally reveals she can talk by yelling out our main character's name, which is, of course, Noah.
All right. Look forward to the next franchise where they start with Noam Chomsky, who somehow has survived in the Apeverse.
I was sitting there. I was like, what is her first word going to be? Because that's such a big scene. And I thought, like, are they going to she's going to say no. And then I was like, maybe she'll say yes and it'll be an inversion. But I'm like, I don't know. Are we really going to do that? It'll probably just be no. And then so when she yelled out Noah, I was like, that's why he has that fucking name. They named him just for this. The main character of their trilogy, I'm 99% sure the entire reason is named Noah is so she could yell his name in that same situation.
I could see that. Yeah, I feel like that's kind of the crux of my dramatic plotting issue with this is that like everything is so neat. It's like everything just like happens. You know, he can't tame the falcon, but then the falcon slowly warms up to him, and then in the final scene the falcon is gonna help him, or like there's stuff like that, which is like very, as I said, very like solid screenwriting 101 things. You set up your thing, you do a second beat of it, and then you pay it off. Like, great. But it's just like none of it felt surprising. I don't know. Were there any points in the movie? I can talk about the one time I was surprised. I would be kind of curious. Like, were you surprised? Did this movie surprise you in a good way at any point?
I mean, did the story surprise me? I liked, not surprising in like plot twists.
No, I don't mean by that, but like doing something interesting with a trope, or like, like expecting it to zig and it zagged.
I was pleasantly surprised by like just the location where Proxima. I thought that boat, the giant rusted ocean liner, was a really interesting place to set all those sequences. No, I think, and this is an issue that holds this movie back from the other ones, is that I think great blockbusters like this do have simple stories, but they use that simple story and the high concept premise to then get at more interesting ideas. Like Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, again, I keep bringing it up. We know that eventually the ape clan and the human clan are going to go to war, but watching these two sides try so hard to keep it from happening, and seeing how every character has a totally relatable, like Gary Oldman as the head of the Americans, the humans, is like a totally understandable guy. He's not a super bad guy, but we could see how he's helping lead them to war. And again, I thought the religious stuff was the interesting ideas that you can hang on the strong backbone of a simple story. Mm-hmm. So no, the story plot didn't really surprise me, but I didn't mind it because the world building was still very interesting to me. So what was the one part that surprised you?
I was surprised that how kind of cold-hearted May ended up being. I thought that was kind of, I think for the most part, she felt like a very nothing character until that point. And to be honest,
the reveal where she shoots the one monkey?
No, where she kills William H. Macy. I thought that was pretty surprising. It felt unsettling at the moment, and it felt like she unsettled the apes when she had done it. But it felt, but then it didn't lead to anywhere necessarily, because it still felt like there was still that trust. There was no, it felt like those apes were almost too innocent in some way. They were like very nice. They still like went along with her, even though at that point they've gotten so many red flags about her in some way. Because she did tell them the truth. It's like, we people, we ruled the monkeys. I want to go and save the people, give the people like something that they need to keep going. I have now killed this man, so I'm very serious about what I want to do. And yet they still kind of went along with her and were so nice. And poor monkeys. Though, I mean, I guess at the end of the day, those monkeys did survive, so good for them.
I think that's the thing, is you're pointing to the moment with the most moral gray.
Yeah,
in this movie.
Yeah.
And I think the earlier trilogy had much more elements like that. But I think that's, again, I think that's the issue of, in the second half, it's all about man versus monkey, whereas I was much more interested in doing a much more thoughtful version of monkey versus monkey, of these two tribes. Like, show me the thing where it's like, where we know both interpretations of like both sides is wrong about Caesar, what actually happened, but who is, using their interpretation of the story to build a better society. And I think, look, at the end of the day, this movie made huge risks by the simple fact that there aren't humans on screen for so much of this movie.
Right. And even the humans who voice the apes are not famous people. The most famous person is the dude from a few episodes of Lost. like Kiwi from Lost plays, I think,
Kevin Durant.
Yeah, he's the Proximus Caesar. And aside from William H. Macy, I believe he's the biggest name in there, which is kind of interesting. I guess, yeah, if you have apes, you can just hire very good voice actors. Because did they actually do the motion capturing, or is this all CG full on?
I imagine they also did the motion capture because the first trilogy was so much all about the Andy Serkis of it all and the motion capture. So yeah, I imagine it's all motion capture.
Okay.
And then of course, redone, but they're on set. I don't know how much of this, so much of this world is clearly CGI as well. But
yeah. That makes me so sad.
Yeah, I What'd you say?
I don't know. That makes me so sad. I mean, you brought Avatar earlier, and it's another one that's just like, I don't know. Can't we make stories about our world and humans? And
but that's the thing.
Yeah, just human made things, which I guess obviously CGI is human made in some way, but it's just it never feels right. It never feels good. Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, that's the big thing that separates enjoyment of genre fiction and non, is that to me, it is still about humans. At the end of the day, this isn't about actual gorillas.
Of course,
this is a story that's
yes.
about humans being explored through apes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, no, this is fine. I don't this movie did not make me angry. I mean, the most maddening thing about any of these movies is the fact that they have this double proposition that I find absolutely infuriating. How?
Well, thank you for the natural Veronica.
Oh boy!
I told you I want to play a little game.
Oh boy!
I have in front of me a list of every title from the Planet of the Apes series.
Oh boy. Okay.
I am going to read you some titles. I want you to tell me if they are real or they are fake.
Okay, so you made up some too.
I made up some of these.
Wow, this is a Hollywood writer, ladies and gentlemen.
I didn't. I'm going to be ad-libbing them.
Oh boy.
And hopefully I'm going
to be This is a UCB professional at work.
Yeah. All right. To start, Escape from the Planet of the Apes.
That sounds reasonable. Yeah, I would say yes.
True. That is from 1971.
Okay, so that's the second one?
That is, in fact, the third one.
Oh boy, they were fast.
Okay. Next up, Forgotten City of the Planet of the Apes.
No, that seems false.
That is real.
What?
That is real. Here's the thing: is while the movie titles are terrible, there was a TV series, and then the network re-edited them into TV movies, and the TV movies that combine episodes of the TV series have even worse titles than the movies. So I'm warning you now: some of these are truly insane.
God. So when was the TV show? Or
the TV show. The TV show started in 1974, a year after the last original movie.
Wow, the production value of that must have been dog shit.
I imagine they had all the costumes left over.
Okay, but I feel like TV, I'm not dissing TV as a medium, but at that time in the 70s, the budgets were not where they are now. There was no Game of Thrones.
Am I rushing out to watch these? No. Yeah, I'm sure they're terrible, but
okay.
Roddy McDowall was in both the TV series and the movie series. That's fun.
Roddy McDowall?
Roddy McDowall.
Is he affiliated with Andy McDowell? Malcolm McDowell? What kind of
I don't
McDowell?
know.
What kind of clan is he in? What kind of McDowell?
I don't think he's related to. Can we make a direct line from Planet of the Apes to
Sex Lies and
Margaret
Videotape?
Qualley? Or is that her name? Margaret Qualley?
Margot Qualley?
Margot Qualley?
Is it I thought it was Margot, but it might be Margaret.
Well, it doesn't matter. He's not related to him.
Okay, cool. This was a fun side tangent. Okay.
No. He was apparently in a relationship with Montgomery Cliff.
Ooh.
So that
no
would explain
children.
why he does not. So no, he does not have any children. Okay. So here we go. Next one. You are 1 for 2.
Boo.
Okay. Love and Death on the Planet of the Apes.
Oh boy. I guess now that television is being introduced, I can see this being a Fantasy Island crossover, or maybe the Love Boat docks at the Planet of the Apes Island or something. Okay, I'll say yes. Let's.
No, I made that up.
Oh, damn. Okay, all right.
Sorry, no romantics. Okay,
Boo.
next up. Life, Liberty, and Pursuit on the Planet of the Apes.
Oh, God. That title is atrocious. I would say no.
True! That
What?
was true!
Oh, boy. I was so good. Bring back Escape from Planet of the
So
Apes.
good, you're 1 for 4. All right. Conquest of the Battle of the Apes.
Conquest of the Battle?
Sorry. Conquest of the Planet of the Apes.
That sounds real. I feel like I heard this before. Maybe.
That one is in fact real.
Okay. I'm rallying back.
Invasion of the Planet of the Apes.
The whole planet invades? How does that work? Or do they invade the planet? No. Say no. Not a real.
Good. What are you now? 3 for 7? Is that where we're at?
I
Or 3
guess
for 6?
so. Yeah, I don't know how many have there been.
I don't know. We'll say
3
you're
for
3
7,
for 6
sure.
just to make it easier for you. Okay. Next up, we have Back to the Planet of the Apes.
Could it have been the second one? Back to the Planet of the Apes. I don't know. I'll say no. I'm gonna be daring. I'll say it's not real.
It is real. It's the first of the TV movies.
Damn it. Okay. It is harder than you think.
Oh, it's impossible. That's why we're doing it. All right. Messiah of the Planet of the Apes.
Whoa, is that a Dune crossover? That feels wrong. It feels wrong. I'll say yes.
Wrong.
Whoa, come on. I can't even reverse psychologize myself out of it.
Return to the Planet of the Apes.
Okay, so we already had Back. Was that right or wrong?
Back was right.
Oh,
There
yeah,
was
Back was
to the
right.
Planet of the Apes.
So there's Back and Return. Oh boy. Sure, they had Return.
Yep, that was the animated series from 1975, a year after the live action series.
Oh my god, this franchise has been really used up.
All right. Treachery and Greed on the Planet of the Apes.
That seems weird. Is it one of those where it's so bad that it still is a thing? Some sort of a Dallas crossover with the TV show? No, I'll say no.
Real.
Oh God, what? Why?
TV movie.
So how many non-TV movies are there? So it was the first one in the 60s with Charlton Heston. How many more?
So there were 10 episodes of the TV series edited into 5 TV movies. There were, in the original series, 5 real movies. And then so far there have been 4 reboot movies and then also the remake.
Whew. Okay. All right. This is a lot to work with.
The Haunting of the Planet of the Apes.
Ooh, a spooky Halloween version of Planet of the Apes? I don't know. This seems like a thing you made up because you like Halloween.
Correct. This is what I wish existed. All right. And finally, last one. Goodbye to the Planet of the Apes.
Wow. I don't know. I feel like I don't know. Now I'm kind of like maybe introducing like false memories into myself. But I feel like I heard this before. So I'm going to say yes. That was a real one.
No. I'm afraid the correct name was Farewell to the Planet of the Apes.
Oh. Wow. I feel like goodbye works better than farewell, but okay.
And I don't know what your score was. If I use this on for the Instagram tease, you can pop the score up.
Wow, behind the scenes look.
Didn't say. Yep. The names I didn't say were Beneath the Planet of the Apes.
What does that mean?
Battle for the Planet of the Apes. Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. War for the Planet of the Apes. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. And Forgotten City of the Planet of the Apes.
I think we had Forgotten City, did we not?
Did we?
Yeah.
No.
I don't know. Now I'm all confused. I feel like I heard all of these before. They're all plausible.
Prom night on the Planet of the Apes.
Yes. Dude, where is my Planet of the Apes?
What's the worst title we could possibly think of?
Stop, or Planet of the Apes will shoot. All right. Well, do we have anything more to say about the podcast of the Planet of the Apes? No, the podcast of the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
I'll just reiterate my thoughts. I thought I enjoyed this movie quite a bit. I'm disappointed that it wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be at one point. I loved the first half, but I enjoyed it. But I still think you and anyone who hasn't should check out that first trilogy. Maybe not Rise. Some people don't like Rise. I think Rise is fun. Then again, I haven't seen it in 13 years. But whatever. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, I do think everyone should see. I think it's great.
You called it the Mad Max Fury Road of the Apes movies, which is, for me, very high praise.
That's not what I said. What I said was that Dawn of the Planet of the Apes is right up there with Mad Max Fury Road as one of the best blockbuster movies of the 20-teens.
Which, you know, as I'm as a very huge fan of Fury Road, to me that is so high praise that I feel like it could not possibly live up to my expectation.
I'm trying to look. What are the best blockbusters? I mean, it's all gonna be fucking superhero shit. Best blockbusters of 2010s.
What do you mean best? Well, like in your opinion, or
I'm just googling like what people have as in their list.
I don't know, Avengers Endgame or something.
Yeah, well, I would include
Thor Ragnarok. I enjoyed that. Now I'm just saying.
I think
Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol.
Oh, absolutely.
I say Fast 5, fantastic. Crank 2, right up there.
Jurassic World, of course.
Oh yeah,
Jurassic
fantastic.
World, Fallen Kingdom.
Yeah, Super Mario Bros.
Joker.
Yeah.
God.
By the way, I saw the trailer for the Joker Folie de Deux, or whatever they call the Lady Gaga one, and I was intrigued. I'm like, I'll watch this. I think I just like Lady Gaga.
Look, I said on this podcast before, I think that last shot of that trailer is nifty. If we're forced to fucking see that movie because of this podcast, I'll see it. Well, we'll see. We'll see how the scheduling works out. But I still, which do you dislike more, 2019 Lion King or 2019 Joker?
Oh, Lion King by a mile. I did not hate the Joker as much as you did. I thought it was fine.
Okay, how about 2019 or 2018? I can't remember. Men in Black International.
I will save you the trouble. What Lion King is the worst movie I think I've seen for this podcast, followed by The Grinch. I think those two.
The Grinch I did hate as well. That was truly awful.
Maybe the Mortal Kombat movie, because that just like nothing happened.
Oh, what a fucking bummer that was.
Yeah. I think Men in Black still has the charisma of its 2 stars, who I find very, very adorable. That while the movie made 0 sense, I think it was still at least like watchable. Whereas like,
and in the episode that we never released because it was a test episode, The Predator.
Oh God, that was a movie in Box Office Game recently that I had to reveal basically everything to remember that it was that movie, even though I saw it in a movie theater. Yeah. Oh God, that movie was really bad. Oh well.
Veronica. I feel like every 4th episode we have this same conversation of what our least favorite movie. If anyone like punished themselves enough to binge this show, they would just hear us having that same conversation over and over again. They're just screaming at their like phone, just be like, "You hate The Lion King the most every time. Every time you agree, you hate The Lion King the most."
That should be that should be our tagline. We hate The Lion King the most.
Well, I still think I've always said I hated the Grinch more than Men in Black, and then I still think I hate Joker more. I don't know which is more soulless, Joker or The Lion King. I'm sure I've had this conversation before, so I'm gonna stop. Veronica, let's rate the movie we saw.
Sorry? What'd you say?
Let's rate the movie we saw.
Oh, yes. Sorry.
All right. You ready?
Sure. 3, 2,
1.
C minus?
B plus. Oh.
I mean, I'm mostly going by my level of enjoyment of that movie, not the technical mastery of creating the movie. I didn't find it engaging.
I get it. What I'm hearing is that you think you could make better monkeys.
Yeah. I just went back. I asked ChatGPT to draw me some monkeys. I think it did a pretty good job.
Oh, yeah.
I'll be releasing it tomorrow.
Mid-journey monkeys.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Veronica, you seen anything else you liked?
Have I seen anything that I liked? That is a great question. I've seen...
Or, you know what? I've cheated recently by describing movies I didn't like. So, what have you seen recently?
Well, you know what? I have seen some good movies, actually. I saw The Fall Guy that I thought was really fun. It wasn't amazing, but it was pretty entertaining. And it was... There was one glaring flaw in it that I don't want to spoil. But otherwise... And it's a very minor thing that I feel like only I am nitpicking. But otherwise, I thought it was really fun. I had a great time. I rewatched both Furious 7 and The Bourne Supremacy. And they both have very good car chases. Who's to say which one of them has more CGI? Who's to say? I watched for the first time the French heist movie Rafifi. Have you ever seen it?
No, but it's a major influence on the first Mission Impossible, right?
Yeah, so it has sort of the gold standard of a heist scene, and it is truly phenomenal. It's so well staged. It's basically silent, and it's really, really great. I would say the stuff around it, I feel like is slightly more shaky. But
it's all monkeys.
Yeah, it's all monkeys. And they're all very good CGI for 1959 or whatever that movie came out. But no, I thought it was a very interesting experience, and I'm glad that I saw it, and I'm glad that I've witnessed that scene because it is so influential, and it does definitely hold up. But for the stuff that I saw, but didn't necessarily love, I saw Monkey Man and I saw Challengers. And at least for the latter, I know that the internet loves the Challengers, but I thought that movie.
It loves the Challenger, the rocket that exploded.
Yeah. That movie was so silly. That movie was like kind of became a parody of itself the longer it went. So I'm kind of confused about all the high praise. I was not bored, but it was also, I don't know. It was very, very silly. And I don't know that it necessarily is as deep or sophisticated as some people say. But it was okay. How about you, John?
I have not seen any of those movies, shockingly.
Even The Bourne Supremacy?
Oh, no, I seen The Bourne Supremacy. Okay. I meant the new movies you've caught.
Okay.
I want to see The Fall Guy. I keep supposed to go see it with a friend of mine, and her and my schedules never matched up.
Aww.
What have I seen? Last night. So my folks are in town. They're visiting, and I wanted to show them the renovated Vista Theater. I thought that would be fun, and so I saw it was playing while they were in town. And sure enough, it was a 70 millimeter screening of Lawrence of Arabia from 1962. Nice. I had never seen that before.
Oh wow! So what'd you think?
You know what? I'd seen the first half. Yeah, like 10 years ago, I watched the first half up to intermission, and I was like, oh, and I think like a friend like was like, hey, we're all at a bar, and I'm like, I'll watch the second act later, and I just never did.
I mean, I would say it's definitely way more engaging in a movie theater. I feel like first time I saw it was in a like at home, but then I have seen it in a Cinerama situation before, and it is phenomenal. Like it's so great.
Yeah, I mean it's very long. It's like almost 4 hours long. So we had the whole intermission, but it was wonderful. We had a great time seeing it in that beautiful print in that beautiful theater. Was an absolute delight. It was a very fun movie. And it is really long, but it's a really interesting movie. It's, you watch it, it's a real bummer that it is wall-to-wall brown face. Just nonstop.
Well, there's Omar Sharif,
who's still wearing darkening makeup in some
That
scenes.
is true, yes.
And in 70 millimeters, you can really capture that. The worst is like Anthony Quinn, his character, he's wearing a big, awful, fake Arab nose. But he apparently did his own makeup because he was loving playing the role so much. So his nose and his skin are different shades of brown in half the movie. Like his brown face does not match his brown nose. And it's just, I mean, it's a real shame. I mean, like Alec Guinness is giving a great performance, but like in 2024, you just can't get over the fact that he's doing the whole thing in brown face. And it is a bummer. And I know it's just like, it's the way movies were made back then. And that's a bummer too. But it's a bummer that this movie that is truly excellent, there will come a time where, let's say you're a professor at a film school or something, where you're just going to choose not to show that movie because you'll know how distracting to modern sensibilities brown face is. And yes, some people might be like, oh, young kids just need to get over it and accept that that's how it's made. It's not even that. Like when I was teaching intro to sketch comedy, sketch writing, I would show, a bunch of classic comedy sketches. And there were a few sketches that I loved to show that I thought really demonstrated like good, whatever I was teaching that week. And one of them, I think, was a Mr. Show sketch. I think I was showing it as genre parody. And it's the thing about like the fake TV movie or whatever. And I realized pretty quickly it was that. And then another sketch, I think also from Mr. Show, that it just, as good as it was as highlighting that those techniques, it also would use the R slur over and over again. A word that at the time was not a slur. So it was not, it was not meant derogatorily, but just the fact that they used it over and over and over again, like my 20-year-old students were just getting so distracted. And it's like, at that point, I'm not doing a good, like, they're not learning the same way. So I'm just going to stop showing that sketch. And I think it'll be a similar thing with Lawrence of Arabia, which is an incredible film, but will gradually lose its place in the canon outside of like people who can really fight through that. Same with like Gone with the Wind is super racist. Like, it's that stuff where it's like eventually these movies kind of lose their place because of this. And at the end of the day, nothing lasts forever. And this is just, a passing of time. But it is kind of a bummer where I think so much of the rest of that movie would still, like, politics wise, just as a character study, I think there's so many elements of that movie that would still engage young modern audiences. But there's just no getting around the fact that every other character has some of the worst brown face makeup you've ever seen.
Well, maybe they can CGI that
out. There are two other things I want to talk about, just briefly. One, speaking of younger people, I found out recently the younger people on my sketch team have already started with their friends watching Argyle, getting high and watching Argyle.
It's apparently very popular.
As a good, bad movie. And God damn it, I don't know that we need to give them that. As a fan of good, bad movies, I feel like this one does not, I know everyone's making fun of it, but I don't even want this movie to like survive as a good, bad movie because I don't think they deserve it.
No, I agree. This is not a good, bad movie. This is just a bad movie. It's a bad, mean-spirited movie.
And the one other thing I want to say is that, so I saw the movie today, Planet of the Apes, at an AMC movie theater. And up until this point, the record for the longest that an AMC movie started after the fucking time was 28 minutes.
Whoa.
We have a new record. 32 fucking minutes.
Jesus Christ. How many trailers is that? Did you count?
A ton, and I hated every fucking one. It's just fucking Deadpool being ground into my eyes as I just want the fucking movie to start. But like, here's how long it was. When we walked into the theater, I had like a list. Mm-hmm. And I don't know why I'm giving these fucking people money if they're going to do this. I had A-list, and so they asked me for my ID. And my dad had never done A-list before, so he thought we all had to show our ID. So he went to reach for his ID, and he realized that it's actually good because he realized he'd left his license at a CVS. So that was 3 blocks away. So my mom and I went into the theater. I told them like we didn't need to get there early because AMC does this. So we walked in at about 2:03. My dad was in the lobby trying to get a hold of someone at CVS. He tried that for about 15 minutes. He then gave up. He just kept getting answer machines, came into the theater, found us in the back of the IMAX sitting, sat there for a few minutes, said, I won't be able to enjoy the movie without my license, left the theater, walked about 4 blocks to the CVS, got the license that he left there, walked back, came back in the theater, and he was back in there at the point where they were lighting Caesar's body on fire in the first 30 seconds of the movie.
Wow.
That's how long AMC makes you fucking sit there.
Wow. So AMC trailers are as long as CVS receipts? Whoa. Yeah. What is your current like trailer you're dreading to see? Because you're like, I've seen this so many times, I don't want to see this anymore. For me, to be honest, it was Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes until it came out. And
God, I'm trying to think what I saw because I know I was just sitting there during each one. I haven't seen, because I go to AMC movies late now. just to avoid that.
Oh,
And
I
I'm
love
seeing it
the
in a smaller
trailers.
theater.
I mean, usually, but yeah, there's a lot of dreck right now.
Like, we had to watch, it was the Bad Boys trailer. It was, the only movie I'm interested in seeing is, there was a trailer for the new Alien, and that's just because I'm always going to see every new Alien
Oh,
movie.
that did not look
Whether or not I
good.
think it's going to be good,
Oof.
we'll see. But like, let's see, there was Alien Romulus, there was, there were like 3 before I even got in there. Alien Romulus, Deadpool versus Wolverine.
The Strangers. Did we finally saw The Strangers?
Oh, we might have missed that. That is insane. I still can't believe that's happening. What other ones did you say?
I saw Strangers. I think I saw Back to Black.
Inside Out 2.
Inside Out 2. I saw Furiosa.
Oh, Furiosa. We got Furiosa.
I saw Bad Boys. Which
Bad Boys, yeah.
I will see. I will watch. And what else? There was like Aliens, Deadpool, Joker. I think probably that's
we missed Joker, thank God.
Yeah, that was probably it. But I haven't seen the Deadpool trailer yet. It was not great. I was like, I don't know why people are so excited about this. I guess because Wolverine wears the old costume.
His claws don't come out all the way, and Deadpool says, "Oh, whiskey claw," like because he's drinking, and then sometimes when men drink too much, they can't get a boner, and so the claws are like a boner.
I get it. Cool.
I don't think you do, Veronica. The claws are like a boner. You're not laughing hard enough, so I don't think you get it.
Yeah. I get it.
Look, I've never seen a Deadpool movie. Maybe they're great. I hope to never find out. I just...
Oh, well. Well, on that note...
He says chimichanga a lot, right? He calls Wolverine Peanut. Why would you call a big burly guy Peanut? It's crazy.
He's a silly guy. He's the reverend
silly.
Guy.
He's a silly
He's the
Billy.
edgelord of the galaxy. He's so
what
cool.
A goofball. In the other trailer, he and a lady say a bunch of words for cocaine.
Wow. What
they
kind
just
of
list
words?
A bunch of different
Are they silly?
Funny names for cocaine.
Wow.
I think the last episode ended with me talking about how little I want to see Deadpool. So let's...
I hope we keep going.
Oh, God, we're going to have to fucking see that.
Each episode is going to end with us re-ranking the worst movies we've seen and then complaining about Deadpool.
Whether or not, how about this? We'll make it a deal. Whether or not the calendar requires us to see Deadpool, we'll just replace it with Furiosa no matter what. Even if we've already done an episode on Furiosa, we'll just do a second one on Furiosa.
Oh, wow. I don't know. What if Furiosa sucks? I mean, I hope it doesn't, but I don't know. Let's see. Maybe we'll do some shenanigans so we don't have to watch Deadpool. I don't know.
No, we're sticking to our schedule. You watched the Apes movie you didn't want to see.
It's true. I made a sacrifice.
If I have to see Deadpool or Joker Gone Done Sing-A-Lot, I'll see them both.
Oh boy. All right. That's the spirit. Well, until
For
then...
you, listener, here's the one part of the episode where I talk to the listeners. For you, I'll do it.
Wow. Well, but until then, we have other stuff to look forward to in the past. Could it be the Days of Future Past, which is the X-Men movie?
Wow, that would be a good way to get ready for Deadpool.
It's true. That's true. I remember liking that movie.
That's 10 years ago.
To
Days
be
of
honest.
Future Past is 10 years ago?
And yeah.
Was that the second of the kind of reboot series?
Yeah, First Class was the first one, unsurprisingly, which was very good. It was...
I liked it.
A lot of it was Magneto hunting Nazis, which is what not to like.
It was great. A great movie from the twisted mind of Argyle mastermind Matthew Vaughn.
Exactly. Or we could watch Shrek 2, which, to be honest, I genuinely love. Wow, John. Really? John is making a face, dear listener. He's not a fan of Jennifer Saunders singing I Need a Hero, which is a fucking delight, and shut up.
Oh, God. Okay. I'm definitely leaning towards Days of Future Past. What else we got?
The Flintstones. Meet the
Yes.
Flintstones.
Yes. You know what? That one I would watch because I remember it being genuinely good. All contemporary reviews from adults say that it's terrible. I am curious to see if as an adult that holds any appeal to me, or if my child glasses have fallen away.
I've never seen that one. I think I saw the
really?
made-for-TV one with Kirsten Johnston, which I think was Flintstones.
Oh, no, that
too.
wasn't made for TV. That was I believe, a prequel to this one.
Oh, but okay, maybe I saw it on TV.
They couldn't get the original cast because I think the budget was heavily cut because the first one didn't make as much money as they expected. So they made Viva Rock Vegas.
Yeah, I think I saw that one.
Was Jane Krakowski Wilma? Not Wilma, Betty?
I don't remember. But I remember kind of liking that. I also like the Addams Family made for TV movie. So Kirsten Johnston is Velma then?
Yep. Wilma.
Anyway, or we can watch I'm sure the aged very well Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah, that movie fucking rules.
I only recently saw it for the first time during the pandemic.
Really?
It was okay.
Okay.
And definitely my least favorite of the original trilogy.
I agree.
Or, well, we already saw The Sting, but if we ventured even farther into the past, we could watch The Pink Panther. Do-do, do-do, do-do.
Ooh, a little Blake Edwards?
Do-do-do-do-do-do. Yes. Do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do-do. Anyway, something for us to decide. And those
are a lot of good choices.
Yeah. And
I think... Sorry.
Oh, no. I was going to say something for us to decide and something for you to look forward to, dear listener or viewer.
Yes. Check us out on all the podcast stuff to listen. Your Apples, your Spotifys, and whatnot. Or check us out on YouTube to watch. Please on all of those, as well as Instagram for updates. Engage. Give us engagement. Give us reviews. You know.
Yeah, like and subscribe.
my dad, we're going to the theater because I said we got to go see this movie. My brother has given my parents 2 grandchildren. I made them go see a monkey movie for a podcast I'm doing. And
who's to say
my dad was like,
who they love more?
My parents actually enjoyed the movie. But my dad was like, do you have any listener data? And I'm like, no one listens. But hey, that's a lie. Because you, right now, hearing my voice, you listen.
It's
and
true.
We know about you. And we appreciate you. And we love you.
And we know where you live. Good night.
We know where you live. So engage with our content.
All right, we should stop before we start threatening people.
So long, Veronica.
Bye, John. Toot toot.
Toot toot. Oh, right. Wave.